Now you can see here you can actually patch 24 at one time, and it allows you to even organize it however you like. So if we go to the top, let's say for example our Wi-Fi EXR, our first one, you can go to the info option and modify the profile however you'd like. You can even add your own image so that way you can actually identify which fixture it is. Right now we have some pre-chosen ones. Later on we'll have it where you can add your own, but that's for much later on. And of course you can also rename the button. This is really good not only if you're a mobile DJ, but if you're, for example, doing sound for a band and you need front of house, side fills, you can organize it however you like. This already comes preloaded with several fixtures for ADJ, but if you want to add your own fixture, even if it's a different brand, you can actually make your own. And then you can actually see a lot of the custom profiles. Now once you have that on there, yeah, there we go. So here we are. So this you can configure your own profiles. You can add your own name. You can have classification of what kind of fixture it is. And it automatically configures your channels based on what you call it. So for example, instead of doing 3 channels, red, green, and blue, and then having to patch them to do color effects, you just call it red, green, and blue, and it automatically identifies those channels by using those keywords. So this means that if you buy a brand new part cam and it's not on here yet, you can patch it on here in less than 30 seconds. It's real fast, easy, and pretty quick to be able to do. Let's go back to the main patch one. Once you added your main fixtures one, you select your fixture. So for example, we have our hex part, and now we're going to choose our channels. Now, the way that this works is each channel works, again, just like any traditional DMX board, but what you're able to do is you set it however you like, and then you can save it as individual scenes. Now, a scene can be static, or you can control one of the effects, which I'll show you in just a moment. But again, you set it however you like. And as far as the response time, with most of the lights that I've been using, it's been instantaneous. But if you're in a very heavily congested area, then what's going to happen is you may see a little bit of a 1 second delay or anything like that. But we've been setting it up in NAM and we've had an instantaneous response. Again, your mileage will vary on that. Once you have that set up, you can also use effects. So let's go to our effects tab. Now this is really cool. We've got 3 different kinds of effects. First, we have our motion effects. And this is for moving head. So you can have it do an automatic circle, and just like any iOS gesture, you can pinch or zoom to go in and out. You can also move it around with 2 fingers, whatever the case is. So you have different options for that. You can also draw which shape you want it to go. And this is one of my favorites, because yes, everybody knows how to draw with their finger, but it actually calculates how fast you move your finger. So if you go really slow and then really fast, once you actually run your shape, you'll see that it goes based on how Marco moved his finger. Now, if you want to speed that up or slow it down, then you can just go over here. And last but not least is points. You can also do it like a traditional DMX software where you just select your point and it's going to choose that area around. Our second type of effects is color effects. Now this is very simple, so that way you can have instant colors ready to go. You select your color range. So actually, let's expand that all the way out. So you can have multiple colors, so you can just select 1 or 2 different colors. You select your speed right here, and then you can loop it so you can preview to see what it's going to look like.
As you guys can see, we have a couple of cards on the wall that are changing colors.
Now, if you're using for example, set of strobes, or something like the Free 5 or Free 16 or the Matrix that have multiple LEDs or strobes in one, the flash effects is a lot of fun. Can we go real quick back to the... Okay, the color flash, there it is, flash effects. So let's say, for example, we had a Free 16 that has 5 individual shutters or strobe options. You could actually sit there and drum, and then save that as a scene, and it's automatically going to replay that back. Again, just a fun, different way of programming lights, really taking advantage of the multi-touch features that iOS has to offer. Here, of course, you can change your speed and your intensity. So that's how you do your effects. Now, once you do that, then you can save that over here as a scene. And all you got to do is just basically assign it, click it, you're good to go. You have 3 pages, each one holding 24 individual scenes, and they don't have to be called 1 through 24. You can name it however you like. You can use color coding. It's really made so you can make it as simple or as complex as you'd like it to be. So for example, we can name the scene here. You just touch and move around to change your button color. You have your actual name, so you can name your scene. Now here's the difference between this one and this one. This is the actual file name of the scene, and this is your button label. So make sure you kind of categorize that however is easiest for you. And then you have a fade time. So that way your lights don't just suddenly blink from one color to the other or one scene to the other. You can actually have it fade, let's say 2 seconds between each scene. This is really good, especially if you are a single op operation and you're trying to DJ and run lights at the same time. If you hate that sudden flash from one color to the other, you can change that. Now the latest firmware that just came out, enables flash button. This means that the scene only works as long as you have your finger on it. This is great, especially if you're doing strobes, flashes, anything like that. It lets you do some real live busking on there. Once you have your scenes that you like, you go into shows. Show is basically a macro of scenes in however order you like. And just like everything else, you can assign just by adding a step. You click plus or minus to go through your individual scenes. You tell it how long you want it to play for, and you go to the next one. Now, one of the really nice things about this one is if you're, for example, doing a rental, if, let's say somebody wants to rent some uplights from you, you have this pre-program. The biggest fear is, will they mess with the already built-in programs? There's actually a kiosk mode in here that allows you to lock the app so nobody can sit there and delete or mess with the program at all. So in a nutshell, that is the Airstream app. There's tons of new features coming out daily as well. We also have a Facebook group, so we'd like you guys, if you're on Facebook, search Airstream Bridge discussion group, and you'll actually be able to get some live feedback. The developers there all the time, taking your ideas and everything else. But more than anything else, you'll be able to see the newest options that are coming out, get a chance to beta test, whatever you guys would like to do. If you guys have any questions, we'll be right over here also, showing you a little bit of that one-on-one.